I think a lot of people have bad days backwards. I don't know about you, but when I have a bad day, or when most people I know have a bad day, usually the solution is to lay in bed, scroll on your phone, be very isolated, stay inside. And while it seems like the natural reaction to a bad day for most people, I actually think it's the complete opposite of what you should do if you actually want to get out of a bad day and turn it into at least an okay one. And I think inherently a lot of people resort to isolation, being by themselves, because it feels safe. They can show their emotions or hide them for that matter in a way that feels most comfortable for them. But I don't really think that's the best way to go about things. When you're having a bad day, I really think the best thing you can do for yourself is to just get up and go do anything. Anything other than stay at home and just sit with your thoughts. I think when you have this time and space completely to yourself, by yourself, you do too much thinking. And I think the solution to that is to get out and go do something. It doesn't need to be anything special, it can be as simple as going out for a walk, going to get a meal outside, going to watch a movie. It can literally be anything you want, and everyone will have their own preferences and things they like to do when they go out. But I wanted to bring that to people's attention because I think way too many people are resorting to isolation when I think the best solution is to get outside. Humans are social beings, and even if we aren't with friends or directly talking to others, I think being in public, social situations, even just sitting around with people and watching people is something I do every now and then. It just brings your mind away from whatever is going on that you deem negative. If something bad happened at work, maybe you're in an argument with somebody close to you. The an idle mind is when things go bad and you resort to those negative thoughts. But that's why I'm telling you to get out and go do something. If you keep yourself busy, working on a project, exercising, like going to an event, it can be genuinely anything. But I really encourage you to not resort to the easy solution, which is to sit inside and be comfortable by yourself. I think that's more destructive than it is fixing your problem. It just is like putting a little band-aid on a big deep cut, when really the proper solution is to go out and completely get your mind off things. Because if you're sitting at home scrolling on your phone, laying in bed, you're not gonna, there's no good feelings that are gonna come from that. Those are already activities that don't bring you much joy in the first place. And if you combo that while you're in a bad mood, it's really not going to be fixing anything for you. So a couple of the ones that help me the most are to go to the gym. So even if you've already gone, you can go a second time. I know people who've done that before. Personally, I don't usually do that. If I've already gone out for an exercise, I'll just go for a walk or something like that. Walks are so powerful, and I talk about them in a lot of my videos, but they really are a solution to so many things. And I think it's just a combo of getting outside, being in nature. I've got forests all around me that I'm very fortunate enough to be able to walk in, and that in itself is not only good for your body, getting some exercise, but it clears your mind. And I don't know how it does it, but there's something about being in nature that is very healing for you. So I like to exercise, go on walks. I'll go get a meal, get a coffee by myself. Anything that gets me out of the house is the big one. I'm not saying that being at home is a bad thing. That's where we spend a lot of our lives. But when you're not having a good day, I think the best solution is is to get out, you know? It doesn't matter what it is, but the combo of seeing other people being in public, getting your mind, giving your mind an exercise, giving your body an exercise. You need to give yourself a change of scenery when you're having a bad day. And I think going with your routine and doing the comfortable things only makes it a little bit worse. And maybe this doesn't work for you. Obviously, nothing always works for everybody, but it's just something to think about in case you're just having one of those days where you feel off, but you don't really know why. I'm sure I have those days so often where I'm just kind of feeling out of it, and I don't really have a real reason for it. But we're allowed to have days like that, and there doesn't need to be a reason for why we feel off. We're allowed to just have a bad day for the sake of having a bad day. But doing what I've said in this video can help switch that around and change your mindset into getting things back on track towards a good day, or even just an okay day, you know? Something where you can look back and at least you tried to change things for the better, you know what I mean? So give it a shot, and like I said, it might not work for you, it won't work for everybody, but it's just another tool you can use to hopefully make your days a little bit better in the times that you need it most. So hope that helped. I appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks.